Hey, friends. I'm coming to you from I'm calling it my summer situation. I don't have the green screen. I don't have all the professional stuff. And you will see I have one of my dogs in the background. So there's no guarantee there won't be noise. But I really am excited about sharing the topic of today, which is memberships. Now, I want to be very transparent from the beginning. I am not coming to you from the perspective of someone who has or has had a membership program of their own. I do, however, have the experience of being in no less than 20 different memberships over the last 5 years, up to 3 or 4 at the same time. Some of them I have stayed in for all of this period of time, all of 5 years or close to it, and others I was in for a matter of months. Some of the memberships that I have been a part of are still running, but they're running without me being a member. Other programs ended. As a matter of fact, I am in a membership program right now. It's a little bit different than a membership program, but it's a membership program. And it's coming to an end at the end of the month. I have actually been in several membership programs in the last year or so that have ended by the person who's running it. So I have a lot of thoughts about memberships. I also am coming to you today from the perspective of someone who has been, I don't want to say struggling because I think that's just such an overused word. I have been considering, I have been contemplating, I have been researching, I have been talking to specialists in the area of memberships on and off over the last 2 years as I have attempted to discover how I can serve more people in my business and what model would be best suited to my ideal clients, to me, and to the material that I want to share with them and their goals for accessing that material. I want to reference a couple of people at the top of this live stream, and I will also mention them again later, that I think whether you're watching this with me live on LinkedIn, YouTube, or Facebook through my Facebook business page, or whether you are accessing and watching this later on the replay, these two people have been instrumental in raising my own awareness, my own understanding, and my own appreciation of the difficulty of running a sustainable membership program. If you are familiar with any kinds of accounting terms, and I also think this may be used in IT, garbage in, garbage out. Now, I would never call another human being garbage unless it was a joke and they were in on the joke. But in reality, one of the most important factors in determining whether the membership you join or the membership you start and run will be successful. And for me, successful means it's right-sized, it meets your goals, it meets the needs of the people who have become members, you have the bandwidth for it, and it is profitable. For me, all those criteria need to be included to consider a membership to be successful. Now, I think there are probably successful memberships, by my definition, that are in a way like a pop-up membership. And that's something I've sort of toyed with too. A pop-up membership might be something that would exist for a certain period of time or a certain phase of, let's say, if you're working with business owners like I am, or a certain phase of their business development. It's certainly true that for many business owners, they don't necessarily need, want, or require ongoing support, but they do need it during certain strategic periods in the development of their business. The problem is most of the time they don't know it. Now, this also mirrors my personal philosophies about psychotherapy. before I became a business owner and I began working as a business coach, business strategist, business mentor, I was a successful psychotherapist in private practice at the end of a long career in community mental health and being a professor of social work. And I think the same thing is true of psychotherapy as it is of mentorship and possibly memberships and mentoring together for business owners. I don't think most people need to be in psychotherapy for 10 or 15 or 20 years or for life. And I know there are people that are. And I have had some psychotherapy colleagues in the past who were very proud of the fact that their clients had been with them 10, 15, 20 years. From my point of view, that's a fail. I believe that a psychotherapist should come into someone's life at a touch point, at an inflection point, a point when they recognize a need and they have a desire to address that need, whether that is addiction, abuse, a relationship issue, trauma, loss, significant things. And that the therapist's role is to come alongside them, join with them, provide what they need to heal, to recover, to gain insight, to resolve problems, to increase functioning, to return their functioning to the former baseline. And then they should be phasing themselves out. I don't think people grow continuously like this. I also don't think this happens in business. I don't think so many of the people that are saying, first do this, then this, then this, then this, and you will have $1 million business. Maybe, but I think that eliminates the awareness that we are human beings and our business is not the only thing going on in our life. We have other things that are competing with our business for our time, our attention, our focus, our energy, our effort, our dollars. So it makes more sense for me to provide support to someone's business and to the someone in the business holistically for a period of time and then pull back. And then they continue on either maintaining, sustaining, or continuing to grow on their own. And then you come in at another inflection point. That was the way I worked as a therapist. It's kind of the way I like to work as a business strategist and a coach. Now, that may not be ideally suited for a membership because the whole point of a membership is recurring revenue, regular income that you can count on. Because a lot of people who are coaches, consultants, independent professionals, creatives, a variety of types, small business owners, their income often, especially in the early years, is unstable. It is unpredictable. So many people look to a membership to provide a stable, recurring revenue source, oftentimes one of multiple streams of income. I suppose there are people that have a membership as their one offer, and they've built a profitable business around that membership. I'm not as familiar with that. Most of the memberships that I have been a part of are an income stream in a person's business. And typically, why do people start memberships at all? The ones I'm familiar with, the 20 odd memberships I'm familiar with, and how I have looked at a membership is when you provide one-on-one services, you know what you can do with one person. Most of us want to have impact. Most of us want to make a difference. Most of us want to reach more people. Some of us want to become wealthy by reaching more people. But most of the people I know want to be able to reach, teach, lead, serve more people. If you have fewer people that you serve, you have to charge each of those people more money to meet the same income goal. If you can serve many people for the same income goal, you can reduce the amount of money that each of them needs to invest with you. So many people think Membership is a good way to do that. Most of us will start a membership program or consider starting a membership program because of two reasons. One, we want to serve more people. And two, we want to be able to make our product, our program, our services more accessible. So if you have to charge $10,000 to 10 people, you're only serving 10 people. But if you can scale what you do down and spread it out over 100 people, 1,000 people, you can shrink that $10,000 investment on their side down in the same way. So that's the motivation for many people. I want to serve more people, or maybe you have more demand for your services than you have the availability and the bandwidth to work with people. Where there becomes a little bit of a, we could call it an inner conflict, but certainly something that needs to be worked out, is for those of us that are accustomed to serving people on a deep way, one-on-one, how exactly do you transfer that to a membership experience? Well, I would recommend that you follow, get to know, listen to the episodes on the Scaling Deep podcast, where host Lisa Princik interviewed me, and listen to my interview with Lisa Princik on the Driven Woman Entrepreneur podcast. We talk about it from two different sides, and I think being able to listen to both would be really worthwhile. Something I learned from Lisa is that you attract people to your membership for a variety of different reasons. And we'll talk about what those reasons are. But you also can position your membership at different places on the customer journey. Now, Lisa and I both serve predominantly women who are self-employed, women who have taken the leap to entrepreneurship, and they have a business of their own. They are their own boss. It might be a side hustle. It might be their main gig, but they're self-employed and they serve clients. A lot of them are coaches, consultants, independent professionals, creatives, and so forth. She works exclusively with people who use the membership model. Now, most of the memberships that I've been in, and most of the memberships out there on the interwebs that are serving this female entrepreneur niche, are directed towards beginners. Beginners have lots and lots of needs. They have lots of questions. They need lots of hand-holding. There's so many different areas of their business that they need to develop a minimum level of competency in, because when you are a beginner, unless you happen to have somebody bankrolling your business, you're going to have to DIY everything, which means a newbie female business owner, even if she's doing this as a side hustle, has got a lot of things to learn, a lot of things. She has to decide who her target market is. She has to decide how she serves them. She has to decide what her offer is. She has to decide where she's going to show up online, or if she's going to do networking in person or in some other way. She has to decide whether she's going to create content. She's going to do partnerships with other people. She's going to do advertising. She's got a lot of decisions. And for many of us, that involves learning all about social media, learning about search engine optimization, learning about email marketing, learning about content creation, learning about podcasting. I mean, there's a lot to learn. So, and there are a lot of female entrepreneurs out there, and the number just continues to grow. It grows as a result of the pandemic. It grows as a result of the Great Resignation. It grows as a result of the fact that there's a ton of marketing and advertising out there, that in social media in particular, that's telling us you should have your own business. Like, it's dumb to work for other people in this day and age. So there are a lot of women with a lot of needs who are joining a lot of membership programs. And especially if you are accustomed to working in the workplace, you're accustomed to having a place to go, you're accustomed to having a professional wardrobe, you're accustomed to being expected to be somewhere, on time and having a job description and all those things. Now you're working for yourself. The lack of structure and the social isolation alone can be very scary, very disruptive, very destabilizing, and very lonely. So one of the reasons I see a lot of especially new business owners joining memberships, and this was true of me, a number of the first number of memberships I joined when I first switched from having a private practice psychotherapy business in a local community where I got referrals from other professionals and clients, taking my business online, transitioning from psychotherapy to coaching. I had so much to learn, so much to learn. And as I went along, I just kept finding more things I believed I needed to learn. So I joined different memberships for different things. Membership for female solopreneurs, membership for people who wanted to learn more about email marketing, a membership for people who wanted to learn about podcasting, a membership for people who wanted to learn how to utilize social media, all of these different memberships. And it absolutely helped me feel less alone and less isolated. It absolutely met kind of that social need. And also the need to not feel like you are the only one out there doing this. Because most people who start a business online as a solopreneur don't have others in their intimate circle who are doing the same thing or even understand what they do. I can't tell you how many female business owners I know who say their romantic partner has no idea what they do. Their kids have no idea what they do. They just say you're on your computer all the time. So it can be very lonely. Now, where people are in their customer journey, where they are in their development as a business owner, and where they are in their self-awareness is going to play a huge role in whether a membership you may start and offer them is going to be successful or not. Most of the time, we join things for the wrong reasons. I mean, 2 hands raised here. I've mentioned one reason. I joined memberships because I was doing something new. I was doing something for the first time. I didn't know anyone else doing it. I'm also an extrovert. So I was lonely and isolated, and I just didn't want to do it by myself. I mean, I wanted to work by myself and for myself, but I didn't want to be disconnected from the universe of other people who are doing the same thing. Did the memberships I joined in those early years meet that need? To some degree, they did. To some degree, they absolutely did. And I think if you are serving business owners who are just getting started and you're very clear that that's who you serve, for many women, because our lives are more complex, we remain in the just getting started phase for varying lengths of time. So if you have a membership for women who are just getting started in their own business, some of them will stay with you for 6 months and then they'll leave because they got what they needed and they've moved on to another stage. For other women who are just getting started, they may stay in the same membership for 3 years because the pace that they're moving at, the pace that they're developing their skills, their mindset, taking action on what they need to do with a newbie business, it's just at a different timeline, a different trajectory. Where I see memberships failing is, in my experience, is If someone creates a membership for female business owners, but they don't clarify what stage of business, what type of business, and its ongoing enrollment, I personally don't think one membership can really meet the needs of women or anyone truly with a variety of different businesses, a variety of different business models at various stages of development in their business in the same membership. They have too many different needs based on different business models, different stage of development, different level of self-awareness about what they need and when they need it. And so that would end up feeling either overwhelming for the person running the membership, or you'd have constant turnover called churn, because people would come expecting one thing based on who they are and where they are and what their level of awareness is and what's available to them. I have not seen this work very well. I think that understanding why people join memberships is important to what you decide to create. There are people who join memberships because they want to be affiliated with the person or the brand. This is often the case with very high profile individuals who have a big following, who spend thousands and thousands of dollars every month on Facebook and Instagram ads, who are well known. There are people who will join their membership simply because they want to be affiliated with that person. They may not even want, need, or benefit from the content, the community. They just want to be in that person's world. It's not for everybody. It doesn't fit everybody. You have to have a huge audience to do that. But it is a motivator for some people. There are people who join memberships because they want the content. They want a place that they can go every week, every month, every quarter, however often new content is deposited in the membership. And they know that they want to learn from that person, and that's where they want to go. And they're willing to pay month over month for the assurance that when I know I need something and I want to consume this person's content, I know right where to go. And the fact that I've paid for it means it's always going to be available to me. There's nothing wrong with that model. And I think if you have a big enough following and people really like what you have to say and your focus, and you create content updates regularly for your membership, you can have a vibrant membership community around your content. And I think there are people that want that. They don't necessarily want to get to know other people in the membership, which brings me to the third reason, community. It's probably the biggest driver for most memberships, at least those that serve women online. Many, many, many women join memberships for community. We've all had a great big social experiment for the last 3 years with the COVID pandemic. And for someone like me, who did 3 long distance moves within that 3 years, having online communities to be a part of was a very important part of my mental health and well-being, because my life was constantly being disrupted. And I did not have a community in any of the places I moved to. Now, over time, I started to develop community locally in the places I now live. But I didn't have that in the beginning. So I was able to get that need met from some of the online communities. The last reason is connections. This is more true of higher level memberships. This is more true of memberships that cost hundreds, perhaps thousands of dollars a month. instead of those that are under 50. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. It's like the expression being in the right rooms. These are virtual rooms. And there are memberships that charge a lot of money for access. And people are there, maybe partly because they want the content, maybe because they want to be associated with that individual, but most importantly, they want to benefit from the potential connections that they can find there. It's like those people are already vetted, so you can break into the network of the person who runs the membership by joining the membership and networking with other members. That's not a beginner thing. If you are a brand new beginner baby business owner, you probably wouldn't even think of that. One of the main reasons why I have gone to, benefited from, grown with, and outgrown a number of memberships over time is that most of them, in my experience, do the best job of serving a specific segment of their audience. A lot of people who have outgrown what they are learning from a membership will continue to be a member because they really like mentoring other people. They really like teaching others from what they've learned. But because I spent a decade as a single parent of 3 teens, 2 adults, and because so much of what I do in my business with my clients is mentorship, I don't really want to do that in someone else's membership. That would really make me feel too depleted. And I've also been a mentor to hundreds of social workers and psychotherapists over the years in my previous career. So I feel like I've checked that box. And while I do consider myself a generous person, I do not have the bandwidth or the desire to be in a membership that's focused on a group that's junior to me so that I can mentor the people in it. But some people really love that, and they will continue to stay in those memberships. I have a couple little notes I want to make sure I get to. Deciding to start a membership because you want it to be more accessible than your one-on-one work also means you have to be able to scale that product. And this is what I think is difficult for many people who do deep transformational work. You have to take that transformation and break it down and in a way lower it and then spread it out over time and amongst many people who are at varying levels of their ability to recognize the need for the information, to be able to cognitively process it, to be able to recognize how to implement it and actually do so. To me, that's a really big lift for the majority of people. So I'll take my own business as an example. My signature framework, the Boss Up Breakthrough, is for established business owners who realize they are scattering their energy over too many different things and they want to get focused, streamlined, and to be able to identify the profit potential in their most important offer or offers. Really go all in on that and then use that to stand out and distinguish themselves from their competition. The goal is, instead of chasing all the different great ideas that they have in their business, which is what they've been doing before we work together, by the end of the time we work together, they will have a standout, sought after, streamlined, and profitable business based on their unique brilliance. It's deep work. We transform both the business and the business owner. And the shortest amount of time it can be accomplished is 12 weeks. So if I were to turn that same program into a membership, I would need to spread out that transformation over 12 months. And I would need to change the way it's delivered into much more of a DIY, self-led format, where they get considerably less of my eyes and ears and intuition applied to them and their individual business. You can't do that to the same degree in a membership. Now, if you are able to attract people who truly learn by watching someone else's example, then I could probably convert my signature framework into a year-long membership where one person is on the hot seat for each of the 12 modules, and everyone else would just watch. I don't know if that's going to work, because in my experience with human development and change over the last 25 years, someone will see how someone else is experiencing something, and then they'll say, I can do that. But when they try to apply it and implement it in their own business and life, they'll start to recognize, oh, wait a minute, the way she did it actually doesn't work for my niche, or I don't have the same mindset, or I don't have the same resources, or they try to copy it exactly and they don't get the results and they have no idea why. Where I have seen several memberships that I've been in actually have to fold up, close shop, and go away is because the people who ran the memberships offered them at a very low price point. I have been in a number of $37 a month memberships. And at that price point, it's almost a no-brainer. If you know the person and you need leadership in what they are teaching, you join. But because these individuals have integrity and they attracted a group of people and they did their very best to guide them through the transformation, for $37 a month for 30 or 40 people, you can't provide enough individual feedback so that each of those 30 or 40 people is able to move forward. And so they started offering one-on-one support, which then meant that $37 a month probably needed to be $370 a month in order for the business owner to be able to generate enough income to make it worth their while. I think what ends up happening also with a $37 a month membership is that the business owner expects to be able to scale and scale and scale and scale, so that in the beginning, you're serving 30 or 40 people, and then it becomes 300 to 400 people over time. But that's an entirely different business model. And what the individuals that I have worked with have discovered is the number of needs and the number of problems and the number of personalities, the number of customer service complaints grew exponentially, but the dollars didn't. So I think this notion of wanting to serve more people, making it more accessible, I think we have to be much more aware of what we can actually accomplish in a membership. If you're charging less than $100 a month, you either have to have a lot of people in there to make it worth your while, Or if you do provide one-on-one feedback, that has to be at an additional charge. And I've seen a lot of well-intentioned, lovely people start memberships because they really wanted to make their work more accessible and because they bought into the notion that it was infinitely scalable. But they ended up closing it down after a year, in some cases even less, because they felt responsible for the people in their memberships meeting their desired goals. And it was not happening because they weren't getting enough individual attention. This is not a commercial for one-on-one work. What it is an honest assessment of the fact that we really have to make what we offer to our members right-sized, realistic, reasonable, and we have to help people decide if this is really for them. We have to screen them better. I personally don't believe that this whole notion of having skin in the game, that the reason why these $37 a month memberships failed is because people paying that amount don't have skin in the game. I mean, realistically, we're in a recession, folks. And for many people with a new business, or even a business they've had for a long time, but one that isn't yet profitable, or there are cash flow problems, that $37 a month commitment is serious for them. I've also known people who invest $1,500 to $2,500 a month in memberships that they don't take any more seriously than the $37 people take theirs. So I don't think this is just a member of pricing. Where I am in my evaluation of memberships for my business and memberships that I choose to participate in, and I'm down to 2 at this point. I've been in as many as 5 at a time. I'm down to 2. And the difference is that these 2 are very focused on a specific kind of business owner, a specific goal, a specific purpose, and everyone in the membership is within reason at a similar place. So I think it comes down to, hey, if you just want to be like that $15, $20, $30 membership that you market through Facebook and Instagram ads, and you get hundreds, thousands of people in there who basically just want to be associated with you, your brand, your name, what you're doing, and they probably don't even show up most of the time, but they don't cancel it either because it's not much money. That's an option. You can do that. A lot of people do that. But if you are the kind of person that I tend to work with and who tends to be attracted to me and what I have to say, my perspective, being really, really clear about who the membership is for, what stage of development they need to be at in order for it to be for them, and you and they need to be realistic about the time and energy commitment to actually benefit from the membership. It would be like taking a college course, but never reading the books, never going to lab, never using the office hours, like just showing up to class and hoping for the best. The thing is, you can do that. Even with my one-on-one clients, I give them options. There are some people who only want to have their weekly coaching call with me and they get their needs met from that. Others also want to do guided exercises, worksheets, assignments that I provide for them in addition to the weekly coaching call. And others still use the Voxer app to communicate with me regularly in between the coaching calls. I don't tell people how they have to work with me. I tell them this is how I work. And these are the different ways that you can work with me during that engagement. It's up to them. You'll have the same in a membership. So in closing, I did say there was one more person I wanted to tell you about. That person is Heidi Taylor. Heidi Taylor was also a guest on the podcast, and you can listen to her episode. I think it was 136, 134, right around there. Heidi's expertise is helping business owners who have group programs, and a membership is a group program, screen their participants so that they can have the best outcomes. She's very smart about this, and I think this is probably, of the two things I'd like to leave you with in closing, know exactly who you're serving, how you're serving them, and be extremely specific about where they need to be to benefit from it. And also know yourself, your energetic bandwidth for showing up for people in whatever way you promise to do so in the membership. My conversation with Lisa Princik really helped highlight that you could work with beginners in a membership, or you could only work with beginners one-on-one, and when they become more advanced, you could create a membership for the more advanced students. That was a little bit of a eye-opener for me. But being willing to screen people before they come in will save you countless headaches on the back end, will save you countless requests to cancel. It will spare you churn. It will spare you people complaining about you on social media if they didn't get their needs met because they never should have been there to begin with. Being more discerning and discriminating about who you offer your membership to and what you actually need to charge so that it's worth you doing. There's nothing wrong with experimenting in your business. In fact, I think it's a must. But experimenting with a membership model that never fulfilled its potential and that you had to close within a year because it just didn't make sense, I would prefer to avoid that. That's a lot of energy and effort that could have been invested in another way. So I hope that's been useful to you. If you have any questions about this at all, I invite you to message me. You can also email me or leave a voice message on my website through the SpeakPipe widget, and that's Diane Wingert Coaching or Coach Diane Wingert on the socials. That's all for now. I look forward to joining you again next week.